Hey, wow, that is weird. Sorry, I'm looking at because I'm always wondering where I look and what it looks like to the audience. Because if I look over to where comments are, I'm looking there. If I happen to look up, I look straight at the screen. I'm looking at a weird angle. I don't know how anyone else feels. I feel more comfortable. Yeah, if I move the camera there, I'm more likely to look straight ahead. Hello, Strictly Sega and Megalich, by the way. Right, things to do tonight. Tap a keg. All right. I do. Okay. That's the port that I seasoned it with that I can smell there. I don't remember which of these barrels was plain whiskey and which was a cocktail. Little bits of... Ew, actually, I have to wash my bung. Stick it in my bung hole. Right. And so that's one of them. And the other one is over here. Okay. Let's taste that. Just a little thing. Okay. Oh, shit. Spilled some whiskey on the cat tree. Okay. Wait. Yes, exactly. That's where the saying comes from. This is a bung, and it goes in the bung hole on a barrel. That's where it comes from, in case you were ever wondering. Okay, purely visually, these look very similar. Aroma-wise, I'm having difficulty telling them apart. Yes, strictly Sega, there is, in fact, a lot of moistness around the bunghole. Evaporation comes out there. Micro's hungry. Fair enough. Yeah, it's a bourbon. It's a thinner taste than the cocktail. All right, I'm going to use an old Patron bottle. And I'm going to strain my barrel into a Patron bottle because there's still little bits of burnt wood comes through because the inside of these barrels is scorched, burnt, torched, I don't know what you call it. How about it? Hello. You compiled a GDocs list of sources showing to why high traps are slow. Well, it's certainly that whole weird sexualized yet transphobic discourse that happened in a lot of online spaces in the past. It certainly feeds into things that are literally life-threatening for trans women. It's not good. This is like the slow drain of my barrel. Calm down, Micro. Doesn't hurt to give other people a bit of space. All right. Got to clean around my dirty bunghole, maybe. I'm going to put my new make spirit in here. Now, I think this evaporated a bit because I think I put about 1 litre in there. It looks like there's only about 800 mils. But look how dark it is. It's almost opaque. Well, it is. It's fucking opaque. I can't see anything through it. Okay, that's my barrel-aged cocktail. I should have made a video about this before I went live. Where are we? It is important to note, Micro, that, again, that really weird toxic discourse that happened around that term is literally life-threatening for a lot of people. It's not, it hurts my feelings. It feeds into a... I forget what I was going to say then. Let's just pretend I said something really deep and insightful, honestly. So, I have to decide, we're going to taste this tonight. Man, that is really dark. I think I did the right scientific thing and kept an unaged, unbarreled version of this. Okay. Let me have a quick look. Yes, I did. Okay. So, this is this before being barrel aged. Yeah, the barrel age really made it darker. Marco, I get that you have this whole nihilistic thing going on, but what you're calling issues is literally people being murdered. So, yeah. Micro, like I said, it might not affect your life. It's literally life and death for people. It is literally the cornerstone of multiple murders. So, not telling you to live other people's lives or live their experiences, but you're at best glossing over the irrefutable fact that this is a factor in life or death for a lot of people. People are literally murdered because of that mentality, that discourse. It has literally gotten people murdered. That seems serious to me, things that can get people murdered. Seems like a bit of a big deal, quite honestly. And the fact that it may not be an issue that you or I have to deal with directly doesn't mean it isn't an issue. Like I said, literally life and death. So, worth thinking about. And that is true. People get murdered for all sorts of reasons. Some more trivial than others, but you're trying to treat it like an abstraction. It isn't an abstraction for a lot of people. It's literally a thing that gets people murdered. And, call me crazy. It's not something I'm usually glib about. I throw in usually because I probably have been glib about it on multiple occasions. Some music over here. There's a higher than general population percentage trans folks attending LARP. Well, there you go. An environment where you're encouraged to live out for want of a better word, an idealized version of yourself. So, Micro, you're skating an edge that in other cases I've blocked people for, okay? So I'm going to say this as politely as I can. I'm asking you to have respect for other people and not attack people, because I don't intend to, for these live streams, it's not intended to be a platform for people to attack. So as polite as I'm going to get with saying back off, because you're crossing lines. So, and if you're choosing to just not take other people's lives and lived experiences into account, maybe take into account that I will fucking block you, okay? Because you're being abusive and people are allowed to bring things up. Dude, again, don't fuck with me. Don't waste my time. If you cannot be respectful to other people who've done nothing to earn disrespect, then, you need to go off and get some time to yourself and think about why you're doing that, because it's not something I have patience for. And don't fucking tell me to calm down when I'm being completely 100% calm and you're being an abusive dick, okay? You're the one who needs to calm down. You're the one who needs to stop reflexively abusing people. Okay, it's that straightforward. So I think you need to take a bit of time to think about why you feel compelled to be abusive to other people. Because I know on the occasions when I get well narky with people, I know why I'm doing it. So, yeah. And yes, musically better. Some people do have problems with basic respect. So I'm assuming a sentinel hammer is something from a game. That's what it sounds like. But yeah. So we've kind of reached the limits of where I'm going to continue to be polite about this, essentially. So, I'm going to try and think of something else. Okay. Wait, what was that? No, okay. I was just trying to see. The big, if boring news in Australia is an election date has been confirmed for 6 weeks. From 6 weeks from yesterday, I think. So that's going to fucking drag. Yeah, so Micro, I'm telling you unequivocally, stop fucking attacking people or you go bye-byes. And yes, Musical Aviator, that's what I worry about, that the politics is even more annoying and more intense for the next 6 weeks. Still, could be worse. We could be... always, my mind is blown by that US presidential election cycle that seems to go for an entire fucking year. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I don't know, but it's very weird. The fuck was that noise? Sorry, you wouldn't have heard that. Some beastie thing outside. By beastie, it's just going to be a possum. It's not, Okay, well, that's... okay. Not even going there. Weird noises. I'm not going to be spooked by weird noises. Okay. Yes, Musical Aviator. It may have been a drop bear. Could have been that. I'm really annoyed at myself for not remembering I needed to make a video with this. Now, do I just want to... Now, I want to taste test it on video for the first time, I think. A little bit annoyed with myself, though. Tell you what, I'm just going to put this in the fridge, and then it's less of a distraction, and I'll get something else and have a drink. I think it's time for a little drinky poos. Calm me down. Right. I think I'll have an old-fashioned with a barrel-aged gin, because that's the way I roll. Wait, I want to go the whole way with the garnish and everything. So, garnish. No, I need to get this out of the dishwasher. Do I? Is it in the dishwasher? Am I confused? No, wait, there it is. Yeah. I mean, I am regularly confused, let's be honest. Man, you didn't even get the gigawatts up. Come on, get your shit together, son. Okay, that is a weird one. Downloaded free trial of a program uses AI to separate instruments out of music tracks so you can edit and splice things. Seems to not understand what the Baroque trumpet is. Robot alien, also calm down a bit, okay? I reckon Kanye has a dude that does it. I mean, it's technology. It sounds like a fun thing to do remixes with, really. Oh, I should actually wash this. God knows if they sprayed poison or wax on this. I should wash this before I use it. Just a second. Just being hyper cautious. Wash the fruit. All right. The only way to buy his new album. Oh my God. Okay, that's getting weird. But then again, Kanye's weird. He just is. Okay, so this is the whiskey. So we'll put that back there. Might take that out in a couple of weeks. I was gonna finish the whiskey in the barrel for like 2 months, and I think it's at about a month and a half now. Okay, is this ice completely frozen? Looks like it. That's what we want. Big old chunk of ice. Right. Okay, so that's actually not a cheap doodad you're talking about with Kanye. $200 US plus to buy his album. Yeah, that doesn't strike me as a tactic that's going to be successful. I mean, what the fuck do I know? But that doesn't seem like it's going to be successful to me. Ooh, I was just thinking, I might use cherry juice as a sweetener in here. Thinking the cherry's almost gone. And or will I? Will I or won't I? Got it. I think I worked out last night there are only 2 cherries left in here. Hey, Safa. Ha, got the cherry. Okay, a little bit of cherry juice to sweeten it. So the thing, which I've not heard of, actually, I'm on the internet. Why don't I see if I can look it up? Kanye new album. Is it Donda 2? Is it? Okay. Stem player. Okay, so what's this called? Donda 2. Available exclusively through his Donda Stem player. Okay. Won't come on the streaming platforms. Official release is currently locked to the $200 device. There you go. Claimed he turned down a $100 million deal from Apple. Yeah, this does not strike me as a strategy that's going to succeed. Just throwing it out there. Safa, no, I didn't drink nearly enough to get hungover. I mean, I had a few drinks. Worst I got was a little bit tired this afternoon. Wait, I didn't put any bitters in here. Oh, you know what? Because I'm tricky and classy. Put some chocolate bitters and some Angostura bitters. I think that's just about empty. Lucky I got a replacement bottle. Okay. Yes, Micro, you want to mess around with one, but not for $200. Who knows? Safa, if I went outside, I could hear the F1s droning away just a little bit in the background. Not like when I lived in East St Kilda and would hear them really loud all day. All right. God, that is such a dodgy peel that I just did. Look at that. That's terrible. But anyway, just putting that in my drink because I like the orange oil smell. Yeah, I mean, who knows what the device will be selling for in 6 months or a year or whatevs. But yes, reading that his album's only available through that is like it doesn't feel like a strategy that's going to work with me. I don't know. Again, what the fuck do I know? I don't know shit. saying, hey, that multimillionaire's idea is not going to work. What the fuck do I know? Like Chris Renat saying, come to Australia. Cook a shrimp, the Barbie spends lots of money here. Yeah, well. Okay. Oh, yeah. I was thinking, I forgot what I was drinking for a second. Well, that's interesting. It's very smoky and it is barrel aged. That's tasty. Hey, Dr. Abigail. Thank you for dropping in to say hello, good night. I can empathize with the super tired thing. I'm not super tired. I was tired this afternoon. Almost had a little nap. When everyone's actually, I've never heard of that called the Star Scream test, but with certain people, I do feel like it comes down to one of the two things. Like, you're either very stupid or very evil. Like, you're either deliberately lying because you're an evil piece of shit trying to spread lies, or you're really fucking thick and you actually believe that dumb shit you're saying. Yeah, there's a whole shoe thing. It's yeah, it's very weird. Like there's a brand that's really big, and it's like, yeah, they release limited edition things, and everyone's mad for it. And I'm like, okay. But I'm old and don't understand the things young people do. It's it's that it's that simple, basically. I'm old and don't understand young people. So Robert Alien, Prager and Fox are propaganda outlets. They are deliberately lying. They are heinous, heinous, heinous people. Just really soulless, lying monsters, essentially. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have their own definitions. I mean, I've always taken ignorance literally means you don't know a thing, and you might be talking about a thing that you know nothing about. But in theory, you can be provided with information, and then you are enlightened rather than ignorant, and you now know a thing. But then when you get to the willful ignorance, like the people who aggressively close their eyes to observable reality, essentially, yeah, it's hard to know where someone is on the spectrum to, are you just genuinely stupid, or are you so deep in the cult that repeating the dogma of the cult is more important than making sense? Or are you one of the controllers of the information who is deliberately lying and deliberately muddying the waters by spreading gross misinformation? There's a whole thing of, and I think that's a fluid spectrum too, from people who are just really stupid, who believe very stupid things. And there are people who are just repeating it because they're in the fucking cult, and it's more important to promote the cult's message than to be objectively accurate. And then you get the people who are the ones who are creating the lies for propaganda purposes, who know their lies, and they're the most evil motherfuckers. I think sometimes it's the cult people who can be the most dangerous. The evil motherfuckers who set the agenda and make the lies, etc. They're bad. They're dangerous. But I think sometimes the people who are repeating demonstrably untrue shit because the cult rules say they need to repeat the blatantly untrue shit, they're the ones who turn into religious zealots. They're the ones who murder people in the name of their doctrine. So I think it can vary with who's the most dangerous. The ones at the top who create the misinformation, or the ones who push it really hard just because they're in the cult and that's the cult message. And the cult cannot be spoken against. I don't know, people. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with people? Am I right? Am I right? It's, yeah. People, man. They fucking suck. I think you're getting another thing out of here. I've been getting drinks out of here recently. What are we going to do? Rum drinks, agave drinks, whiskey drinks. He drinks the whiskey drink. Drinks a cider drink. What else is in here? Brandy. Maybe a brandy drink. Margaret, you work with them. Yes, Robert. Yes, the dangerous conspiracies are the ones that actually push people to murder. And it's very spooky. What they're like. Heart-shaped box. Ooh, are they a Nirvana fan? Cognac, Saint-Germain, lemon juice, cinnamon bark syrup, vinegar, strawberry. A Joker's Wild. Pisco. Some weird liqueur. A bit of absinthe. Basque liqueur flavored with sloe berries, coffee beans, and anise. Wow, that sounds pretty wild. Ahoy polloi. Cognac. Currant infused wild turkey. Wow. They love their infusions. It's a Golden Gate, Grand Marnier, Benedictine, Campari, grapefruit juice. All these wonderful things. Yes, that's the one. Strictly Sega. Little Miss Annabelle, cognac, pear, Benedictine, lemon, sugar syrup. Do I have pear liquor? I've got an apple liquor. Liqueur, I should say. Not liquor, a little birdie. Strawberry pineapple infused pisco, Saint-Germain, grapefruit, lemon juice, simple syrup. Morning buzz. Cognac, rum, sherry, orgeat, honey. Honey nut Cheerio infused cream. Good Lord. Honey nut Cheerio infused cream. That's kind of ridiculous. 2 ounces of Laird's apple brandy, Plymouth Sloe gin, lemon juice, simple syrup, Peychaud's bitters, topped with sody, Poirman's Cobbler, Calvados, Benedictine, pear, Port Authority, cognac, port, creme de cassis. All these things. Stirred Tranibri. Yeah, I've never heard of jelly juice. I have no idea what you're talking about. Calvados and cognac and sherry. Black market brandy. So brandy and cognac. Tea infused vermouth. Man, it's all. They're just getting. I'm overwhelmed. There's actually too many choices at Lillywhack. I think I want a shaken brandy cocktail. I'll go back to here. A Maggie Smith. Pisco, rum, orange liqueur, lime juice, orgeat, honey syrup. Okay, maybe arbitrarily that one. I might make that in a bit. You just stop looking at the book. Yeah, it's been really weird, like talking about particularly the Q and the anti-vax conspiracy fuckwits, and they all molded into a big ugly lump in the last 2 years. Been very interesting to see the hippies, the hippies were like, "Don't trust the system, man. Natural stuff is where wellness is at." And again, they're not universally objectionable. There's just a tendency to say really stupid things. So they're basically into faith healing, but whatevs. It's not that bad. But they had been traditionally anti-authoritarian, and they teamed up with the really freaky far right people who were pushing the like Q conspiracies, and it's just like they just blithely went along with it. Like, yeah, this people, they're telling me I'm right, so I'm just going to gloss over the racism and misogyny and anti-Semitism, and just because they told me I'm right not to trust pharmaceutical companies, so they must be okay because they agree with me that I shouldn't trust pharmaceutical companies. I'm just going to gloss over the basically Nazi ideology that they're doing. Ugh. So, Micro, you reckon? Well, see, here's the thing. You think like ordinary people get into the big conspiracies. The starting point of not trusting the government, any government, that's a pretty solid starting point for seeing the world. The fact that unless you're a billionaire, the people in power, the people who control things, the vested interests, don't have your best interests at heart, basically. But yeah, I can see where ordinary people thinking, I don't trust the government, I don't trust these big companies, I don't trust corporations. That's actually reasonably sound thinking. It's just the tendency that some people have to disappear down rabbit holes of I don't trust the government. And yeah, this person who told me they're all secret shape-shifting lizards with human skin on the outside, that all seems legit to me. It's like, no. It's just like, yes, private interests, people with lots of money and political influence do, to one extent or another, look for opportunities to work together to advance their own interests, and their interests are not the interests of you and I. But is it an actual formal conspiracy with a structure that meets in a dark smoky room? No, they don't get on well enough for that. But they do shit where they go like, well, if we can influence public discourse and government action in these directions, which will benefit us personally, then we're going to do that. But yeah, trying to maintain some sort of a level head, like, yeah, being cautious about what you believe is good. Being aware that sometimes the most trusted people do the most heinous things, that's the truth, and it's good to be aware of it. The fact that heinous things are done in the name of science and education, that's important to understand as well. But then to leap from arguably healthy skepticism through to they're all in on it and nothing they say is true and I know better, it's like, no, you've gone off the beam. Marky, you had a haircut. I had a very minor trim this week for the first time in, since May last year. Just a trim. Didn't really use much length. Did far more trimming of my beard, which again, you'll probably don't notice, but my beard is much neater than it was a week ago. Put it that way. Yeah. Hair can speak. I don't. I'm just growing my hair long. I have no idea how long I will keep growing my hair. If it will get very, very long. If I'll maintain it about this length, or if I'll get bored and cut it short again one day. Because I had 30 years of short hair. Maybe I have a couple of years of long hair now. Maybe I'm just gonna, as I age, I'm just gonna look like a seedy old hippie. That would be fun. See if young kids try and buy drugs off me. I don't have any. But for some reason, I kind of like the idea of looking sketchy enough that complete strangers would come up to me and try and score. I'd have to send them away disappointed. A beard comb over like the old Super Bowl commercial. I know not the Super Bowl commercial of which you speak, but I feel like I understand what it was you're saying. Someone who had a beard so long they used it as a comb over. That would be quite a few years down the track. I mean, my God, just in Red Dead Redemption, I'm trying to grow Arthur's beard as long as I can. I normally give him a short beard, make him look like a hipster all the time. Now I guess he looks like a hipster from a few years ago with a big old beard. I'm keeping his hair short and seeing how big I can grow his beard. So, Margo, as someone from New York, I don't want to look approachable by sketchy beard. Maybe not in New York. Melbourne's a quieter town. I mean, I grew up, all the stories about how scary New York is. I think it used to be more scary than it is now. 70s and 80s. A bit more street crime than there is now. Not to say there's not street crime now. I think it just used to be worse. All right. So, what is in this drink that I kind of decided I was going to make? A Maggie Smith, Pisco, white rum, orange liqueur, lime juice, orgeat. Okay. I'll do that. Michael Shanks in the booty. Since we don't have guns, I know you meant to say guns. A lot of stabbings. Not a lot. They happen. They definitely do happen. So now it's illegal to carry a knife around too, because there were some stabbings. But yes, not a huge amount. It does definitely happen. Get fatal stabbings every now and then, as in, and I don't even count things like domestic violence or actual interaction between criminals. I just mean, random thuggy stabbings happen. Not often, but they happen. Gets somewhat overplayed by the media. Surprise, surprise, the media being untrustworthy, which is a shocking thing to say, I know, but I fear they are untrustworthy. So I say you hear more about stabbing. This from the UK. Yes, we animals. I feel like we have had more shark attacks than usual in the last couple of years. And by more, I mean like, I don't know, 3 or 4 a year as opposed to 1 a year. And I'm not even sure if that's accurate. That's just the impression I get, that we have had a little more, um, like, and I mean fatal shark attacks in the last couple of years. Um, okay, I think I might finish this off, give myself some fridge space. Also, a bottle. Okay. Do-do-do-do. All right, my robot alien. I'm not getting that reference, but you know, I'm a bit slow. Oh man, it's like too much for one drink, but not enough for two drinks. So I'll fucking drink it. Now I've got a spare bottle again. Maybe make another bottled old fashioned. Marco saying there's somewhere. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, the world is horrified at the rate of gun violence in the US, and yeah, it doesn't really bear thinking about the number of families that get torn apart on the regular by it. It's very distinct, and I don't know. I don't pretend to have answers, because it's not just the guns and the existence of guns. The existence of guns doesn't mean, by definition, you're going to get the sort and level of gun violence that we see in the US. I feel like it's some cultural issue that, if not unique, is somewhat different to the rest of the world. I don't know what the answer is. I know a lot of people are saying, like, you just take all the guns. Well, there's too many of them for a start. There are just too many guns in the US to take them all away from people. But yeah, second, it's not, and not all. I'm very sort of into gun control myself. I think Australia's laws should be more than. Oh, so sorry, strictly. I did not actually say we still have guns, and in fact, I think I read that we have more guns in private ownership now in Australia than we did before Port Arthur, when there was the gun buyback. So theoretically, the restrictions on getting a gun license are quite stringent. It's not something I've researched closely, so I really don't know the types of guns that are in private hands and the types of people who have them. Yeah, Micro. No, it is quite difficult. The rules, I think, are quite strict. I've got to have a feeling they've been relaxed, but I mean, because I grew up in the country, it's reasonable for a farmer to want rifles in my book. I think, apart from like being a farmer and needing a rifle, I think there's like a really limited range of reasons. Like, one is you can have a private security license with a license to have a firearm, and you can get a gun for that. And then I think you can be a professional, or you can be a sporting shooter, and you can get a specific license for a specific weapon with that. Yes, and strictly say, yeah, rifles much easier, and there are strict limits on the type of rifle you can get in Australia. You would find it very difficult to justify getting like like semi-automatic rifle, the ones that seems very popular in the US. You would have a very, 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 very hard time, if at all possible, getting one of those in Australia. And all those weird things you see with the people with the big ammo drums and stuff, you can't buy that here. Very difficult to, very, very, very difficult to get a handgun. There's a couple, like I said, there's sporting shooters, there's security guards. I don't know anyone else who's allowed to have a handgun. Yeah, but you know, I'm happy. So saying the gun club actually counts your bullets. Yeah. I'm sure there are a bunch of activists who'd love to be able to jump on and say, okay, this is the actual things that you can get in Australia, and these are things that people are getting, and you know, highlight this is why we think this is dangerous. So I know there were some fuckwits trying to get this semi-automatic shotgun made legal in Australia. No fucking reason for this weapon, okay? None whatsoever. It's just a dangerous weapon that can fire rapidly. No fucking reason apart from wanting to murder a lot of people to have it. And I have nothing but contempt for the people who try to weaken Australia's gun restrictions. I'm in favor of it. I'm not sure. Oh, right. No, that's actually a reasonable thing to disagree with, Marco. I think I know what you're talking about, gun culture. But Marco, you could have bought a 30-round drum mag for a Russian semi-automatic rifle would be 100% legal. Yeah, that sort of thing, definitely not legally. And I mean, I've seen those ridiculous ones. I've seen people with handguns that have those really big ammunition drums on them. They're patently ridiculous. Definitely 100% illegal here. Yeah. But, you know, that's really interesting. So this is the last of my homemade bottle old-fashioned. And I think some of the sweetener, I put my... One of the things I put in there was my barrel-aged macadamia liqueur that had some chocolate. This has got like chocolatey notes. I think it comes from that. Or you had a red dot sight. I think... I'm not sure about those sorts of laser sights, if there's any restriction on them in Australia. I actually don't know. Marco's been fighting with autocorrect all night. It be like that sometimes. But yeah. Man, that is a really... that tastes different to the last one I poured out. I think a bunch of stuff had sunk to the bottom of the barrel, and it was very flavoursome. And I just poured that into my glass, and it's got flavours that the last drink I poured myself out of that bottle didn't have. I'm trying to decide whether to rinse this barrel out. I'm going to put my new make spirit in it now. Which is unaged whiskey. Basically, it's moonshine. Basically, new make spirit is a fancy word for moonshine. It's the first stage in whiskey distillation. You start with your mash build, which is some form of fermented grain or grains. You ferment that, then you distill that, and then that's the new make spirit. And then what often happens is it's distilled a second time, or then aged in a barrel. And if it's whiskey, it's going to be aged for like 3 years, at least in a barrel, which is where the color and whatnot comes in. Strictly saying, are you saying does stuff from my barrel have little floaties in it? Or you mean this one? Yes, from the syrups, I think. It's got little floaties because this has, what was in here? Multiple types of whiskey, multiple types of rum, and a few different sugar syrups I made, some bitters. And there are some floaties in it, which I think is from the syrups. See, Marco, I don't even know what T9 is. That might have been an American thing. Because I tend to get most references to things from the US, but some not so much. So I'm thinking I'll make a video tomorrow where I put new make spirit, which is I think 57% alcohol or something. Slightly high alcohol content anyway. And I'm going to finish that in the barrel that's had a cocktail in it, essentially. So there's a lot of flavor on the inside of this barrel for the spirit to pick up. Leave it in for a couple months, then see what it's like, and then maybe compare it to a whiskey or two I have. So, Marco, that was a way to text on old cell phones. Was that the one where you, like, there were 3 letters on each key and you had to hit them 3 times to get them? Okay, yeah. Okay, it's the Nokia. Okay, you're both illuminating me. Okay, that was the old way of texting. Oh, strictly Sega. You're saying okay. I think I was no. I didn't pull a face because I got floaties. I think I just pulled a face because like that's my face. That tastes really good. It doesn't taste strongly of alcohol, even though it's got like multiple rums and whiskeys in it. Tastes chocolatey. It's nice. Oh, micro, you missed that. You feel like everything was, you're able to walk around, not look, make whole sentences 100% correct. I go through phases on should I have autocorrect on or off. Because at one point, basically, autocorrect just has to make like 3 or 4 of my messages or social media posts look ridiculous before I'll angrily shut it off for a while. And then I just make typos and miss them. And then I go, man, autocorrect would have got that. And then I switch autocorrect back on. So I go through cycles. Does that thing have with the smartphones where instead of tapping on the individual keys, you swirl your finger around and it guesses what word you were doing? And it gets it right 99% of the time, which I find quite amazing. That one works for me. Robot Alien. I don't remember the red-haired girl bribed by cookies. You may be referring to another video game that I haven't played. Yum. Yep, I'm just really digging this at the moment. Although I might drink water for the rest of the stream. I mean, I'm going to be drinking that for a little while. I'm not going to neck it. All right. Just putting this back. Where's my new make spirit? Back here. My white possum single malt new make spirit. So they've distilled this themselves. 60% alcohol by volume. Single malt new make spirit is mashed, fermented, doubles distilled from 100% barley. The still is directly heated by an oil furnace, which imparts a smoky flavor. Spirit is collected straight from the pot still, left unfiltered, undiluted to preserve its wholesome flavor. This new make spirit has been bottled in repurposed glass bottles, which used to contain other Australian spirits. Please recycle or reuse. So yeah, that's 60% alcohol moonshine, essentially. Hey, Justin. Rabbit Alien, talking about videos you linked on Twitter. I don't know when you did that. I'm actually not sure what you're talking about. Oh no, Micro, someone was nice, bought you coffee, but they didn't get your creamer. No. Okay. So yeah, so I'm going to finish this in my barrel for at least a couple months. And because the barrel's had other flavoursome things in it, which will have penetrated the wood, should penetrate this. So this, clear, after a couple months, should be quite brown, like whiskey. But we'll see. It's an experiment. Oh no, Justin, you're having trouble in Democrats aboard. Vice Chair, Legal Counsel resigned. Good damn. Now the other thing I'm going to do, because I got whiskey finishing in that one. I got another cocktail, a gin-based cocktail aging in that one. They'll be ready at about the same time in about 3 weeks. Then I'm going to barrel age some vodka just to see what that happens. Oh, okay. Oh, right, Robot. Sorry, the Frankie Foster cartoon. Yes, okay. See, that was a little while ago. My old brain forgets things that were a little while ago. But then, I was just sorry. So I was thinking, like, I've got the cocktail and the whiskey. They'll come out at about the same time. I'm going to barrel age some vodka. But then I probably want to make another cocktail. Maybe just an old-fashioned, a simple old-fashioned could be the go. Yeah. Use a couple different whiskeys and some sugar and the gin. Well, I'm at this point not going to barrel aged any gin. I've got 4 barrel aged gins in bottles from various Australian makers. So I think I'll continue to barrel age cocktails for a while. Oh, yeah, no, Marco, I remember that. Buying gaming magazines that came with a demo disc. Yes, I used to do that. Oh, that's an interesting one. Is that a good or a bad thing? You're having a global conference, and it's the same weekend as the election, starting as the polls close. Will you be distracted? Oh, strictly Sega. I freaking love John. I've got, I don't know, a dozen gins there. And it's got the spectrum. I've got some dry gins. I've got some Navy strength gin. I've got a very citrusy gin. I've got several barrel-aged gins. I've got several in the slow style, so like been in fruit infused with fruits. I've got one that was finished in a red wine barrel, so it looks and smells like red wine. I've got quite the spectrum of gins in my collection over here. I've got my fucking whiskies multiplied like nobody's business. Micro, you like spiced rum. I guess a lot of people who are into rums, they will talk about most commercial spiced rums are a low quality base rum that they cover up the fact the rum's not very good with a bunch of flavors. But there are some high quality spice rums. Plus, you can always make your own. Just get a decent rum and then like put it in a mason jar or something with spices you like, you know. Just put all the spices in, allspice and cinnamon and cardamom and anise, whatevs, and you make your own spiced rum. Okay, strictly Sega. The hot tips, cocktails in barrels. Don't do it with fruit juice because fruit juice will go off in a barrel, and there is a risk the alcohol content might protect it, but there's a risk with fruit juice that it will grow fungus, and you don't want to do that. So you want to use cocktails that don't have fruit juice in them. I did read one guide that recommends you don't put bitters in the cocktail that's in the barrel. So if you're making a cocktail that traditionally has bitters, they recommend adding the bitters after you put it in your glass, because they reckon the bitters go a bit whack in the barrel. Micro, all those things are real. Marijuana rum is hemp rum. I've got hemp-based gin. Like, so it's not as in getting you high, but the base vegetable matter that was fermented to form the base of the gin. It was like you start with a ferment and then you distill that to make the gin. The base for the ferment was hemp. Grains are more common with gin as the base ferment. Hemp is, well, they call themselves the Hemp Gin Company, so they're very specialized. Whiskies and gins tend to be grain-based. The base that's fermented might be barley, wheat, rye. So just a grain that's grown is the most common base for those. Brandies, the base is fruit. The most common brandies are made from grape. They're grape-based brandies. But brandies generally, the base is fruit. The idea that vodkas made from potato is somewhat of a misnomer. There are some potato-based vodkas, but they're a very small minority. The majority of vodkas are grain-based. See, Marco, lemon rum, that is a friggin' wicked thing you can do with any spirit. Peel citruses, because you get all that citrus oil in the peel. Peel them and steep that in the spirit, and the spirit will leach out flavor and color from the citrus peel, and you can get a really nice citrusy spirit. But yeah, and here's the other thing: the higher the alcohol content, the more it takes flavor and color out of the thing you put in. I've done it. I've a bunch of white spirits. I've done it with rum and vodka and a couple of other white spirits. You do it with citrus peel. You do it with herbs. You do it with like cooking spices, like things like cardamom and cinnamon and allspice and anise and that type of stuff. Oh yeah, no, micro. That's an actual interesting experiment. And pineapple as well. Like peel a pineapple and put that in. But yeah, no, citrus peel in spirits. I've done it with gin and vodka and white rum. You can get some really interesting results. And hi, Gecko. That is a good question. Would lemon and lime rum actually taste good? I think if you ever do the experiment and the base rum doesn't taste that good, like the peel might have made it bitter or something, I think that would be good then as a mixer, because that if you mix it, whether it's with fruit juices or soda or whatever, it's going to take away the bitterness, but the additional flavors there. Yeah, let's find out. No, I've done it. I've in fact, I think I still have some down there. White spirit that I steeped citrus peel in to get a bit more flavor in it. Robot Alien, yes, most beer has less than 5% alcohol. There are some beers that have much more alcohol than that. But most commercially sold beers are less than 5% alcohol. Gecko, my shirt says an orange martini with a plane flying out of an apple. Well, I think it is a martini. Like that's meant to be an olive on a cocktail pick. Where are we? Does actually look like a plane flying out, though. You're right. You're right. Micro, I think it depends what beer you're talking about. You definitely will have some beers that are in the 5-6% range, but there's also a lot of American beers that are in the 2 to 3% range as well. And again, you can find some beers that are much higher alcohol. It's very rare to get a beer that's more than 10% alcohol, because it's hard to get higher alcohol when you're brewing. Distilling is a different thing. Distilling is, you can distill up to around 95% alcohol by volume. Yes. Oh, neat. Gecko, you got your fire alarm technician license. Excellent. Good stuff. Robot Alien, supersize you with whiskey. Again, spirits are very dangerous to be a bit free and easy with. You'll notice the vast majority of the time when I pour myself a drink, I measure it. I don't eyeball it. I don't free pour. I don't go, yeah, that's enough. I actually measure, because I like to know how much alcohol I'm consuming, because alcohol is a sneaky little mofo who, the more you have, the more it tries to convince you you're fine. You're fine. Oh, no, Gecko, I think I missed that. I have to check. You've been installing fire alarm system in a school. Neat. I have to check. Oh, okay. So that's a Whitest Kids You Know sketch. Supersize me with whiskey. Okay. See, I missed the reference. The Whitest Kids You Know didn't broadcast in Australia, although I have seen clips on YouTube. Okay, you've got a 6.2% beer. That's a strong beer. For a commercial beer, that's actually quite strong. That Supersize Me with Whiskey reminds me of a headline from The Onion, the only really good satirical website. Used to be a physical newspaper. I had one somewhere. I had a physical copy of The Onion. I got it when I was in America about 15 years ago. But they had a joke once, like the headline was, "I'm a chocoholic, but for booze." Robert Allen, yes, eating or drinking nothing but whiskey in a month. I feel confident in saying that would kill you. And yes, strictly saying, I also want to match the recipes, because the recipes which these people have tried and tested have very specific measurements. And if you don't follow those measurements, the drink's going to taste different. May not be as good. May be fine. Might not be as good, though. Michael, you have a limited edition beer from Cooperstown, 4.5%. Yeah, it's fairly common beer, I think. Safi, you had a beer that was 8%, and you could only drink half of it. Yeah, 8% is pretty strong for beer. I have seen stronger beers, but they're almost like novelties at that point. Nettie, hello. How are you? It's really warm here. I feel like I want to flush the house out with the air conditioning before going to bed. It's a very warm day for this time of year. But, we shall see. Okay, so I'm probably going to make a video tomorrow. I usually don't drink alcohol on a Monday. Fuck it. Maybe I'll wait till Tuesday. You can fucking wait till Tuesday. I'll make a video of anything, and I might make the one where I pour my single malt, New Make Spirit, into a barrel, and I'll revisit it in a couple months to see what it's like. Distilled by the Belgrove Distillery, Campton, Tasmania. Bottled by White Possum in North Melbourne. Okay. Nettie, you washed a rug. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I've done that. That can be super fucking disgusting. You wash a rug, because that's a bit smelly, and you wash it, and mucho grossness comes out of it. No. Justin, you want to send me a link to Democrats Abroad? election goes bad, we can listen to a bunch of US expats. If the election goes badly, i.e., if the government does well, the LNP does well, I'm gonna be super fucking depressed about how fucked this country is. So, Gecko, you're gonna yank gearbox off your engine? No, damn. See, you're a fucking handy dude who can do that shit. Man, I'm not mechanical at all. I always have to get someone else here. Oh, nice. You do have creamer in your coffee. Well, that's good. That's good. Creamer in the coffee. Right. So I've got to decide if I'm going to rinse this barrel out, because there were little teeny black bits of carbon from the inside of the barrel. Yeah, Nettie, a decent chunk of Lib voters have the shits with Morrison. So where some of those independents might have a good run, who knows? Yeah, Micro, you actually have to be super fucking unlucky to die by gun violence. It does happen. It's incredibly rare. You have to be like so fucking unlucky. As opposed to, I feel like in the US, it would be a constant sort of background hum of danger. Like some fucking whack job could just come out of nowhere, sort of spraying the street with bullets. Which again, I'm probably overstating the actual danger, but yeah. Yes, Justin, there is an independent in my area. I'm not sure if Labour think they have a chance here. Who knows? Yeah, Micro, better healthcare would be a good deal in the US. Yep, Safa, hopefully your mum's electorate stays independent. It's nice. And again, there are quite a few seats, notably in country areas, where country people have recognised, hey, wait, the LNP does nothing for us. If we vote for the National Party, they do nothing for us. They just fucking carrying the towel for the Liberal Party. Whereas an independent who has to be wooed might do more for us. Sorry. I wouldn't, Safa. No. Sorry, Micro, you'd give up legal recreational marijuana for health. Healthcare is good, honestly. Oh, yeah, that was young Mr. Angry. It's usually young Ms. Angry who does the fridge ninja thing. Young Mr. Angry just figured he's tall enough, his head actually stays, like he's 6 foot tall. I don't know where he gets it from. I'm only 5'8", and his mum's about 5 foot. But yeah, he just figured his head's staying out of frame when he comes in because he's taller. Yes, Micro, I have sort of seen the rumblings that the federal government might decriminalize marijuana across all of the US. Robert Allen, if you talk about Twitter, no, I'm not looking at Twitter while I'm on here. Oh yeah, it is really annoying, Shriki Sega, that blatant lie of the Liberal Party being good economic managers. It's just not true. Yes, Justin. Apparently, my MP did have sex in the prayer room at Parliament House with a sex worker. That's apparently a thing that happened. Ooh. Shit. Sophie Mirabella was just the fucking worst. She fucking sucked. And yes, Gecko, that would also be a good thing if dental and eye care was recognized as healthcare instead of some weird boutique thing. It's very strange. Actually, speaking of that, because I do have private health insurance because I'm paranoid about extras, but I get to have extras. So I will actually have new glasses in the next week or so. Marco, we either have to have healthcare or legalized pot. What do you want to do? Well, it is true that decriminalizing cannabis, well, legalizing it, giving it a legal framework for commerce, is a potentially significant tax revenue generator. Oh, just some wild things. Did Sophie Mirabella look her old husband? I don't know. And I'm not sure what you mean, Gecko, sticking with the Ringo style. I'm not. Oh, you mean the glasses? They are actually round. They are, in fact, more round than this. There was a couple pairs I liked, and I went with one. But I don't even know if you'll notice the difference, quite honestly. The difference might be relatively subtle, but we'll see. But I'll probably have new glasses sometime in the next week. Might take longer, who knows. Yes, okay, we've now agreed that we meant Lennon style, not Ringo style. Yes. I don't know. I think the new ones might even be more Lennon style. They've got thicker rims. I think they're more circular because these are not quite circles. They're slightly oval. But when I tried them on, the thing I liked about them is they went slightly higher here, which in terms of they turn into sunglasses when I go out into the sun. They give me more sun protection. Okay, that's an interesting one, Micro. You think of World War II Japan. Okay. Robot Alien, things are skipping by very fast. So I missed some stuff. Oh, shit. I remember that Strictly Sega. One night on Q&A, a guy had a seizure and actually sort of went head down on the desk. And Sophie Mirabella was sitting next to him. And she's so not a human. She didn't do anything to help him. She just sort of sat there going, yeah, what's happening there? Because she's not a person who helps other people. Very weird. Micro, no, Safa's not a girl. And I'm not sure what he said that made you think that, but it is. Look, with screen names, there are literally people I have no idea, of their identity. There are people who come out and I don't know where they're from, who they are, all those things, and that's cool. That's cool. I don't need to know, quite honestly. It's just the way things are. But yeah. See, I just gonna say, was there any fun news stories in Australia? Oh, well, that's probably useful. Vladimir Putin appoints new commander for Ukraine. That's probably going to be great. Imran Khan, Pakistan Prime Minister, got kicked out with a no confidence vote. Damn, that's pretty intense. Tasmania has a green $14 million whiskey distillery. Marrickville's the craft beer capital of Australia. Oh, young man fighting for life following brawl outside Oxford Street pub. See, that's the thing that makes fairly major news. If there's violence outside a nightclub and someone gets seriously injured or killed, it's relatively major news. And I feel like in the US, it has to be super fucking serious, like just random acts of violence. There's so many of them. They don't make the news. Oh, suppose an Eddie. All right. Sorry, talking about conservatives getting caught with their pants down. Yeah. And I also feel like, particularly in the US, not limited to the US, but particularly in the US, there are some weird fucking stories. Some absolutely weird fucking stories that come out. The the weirdest one, I can't even remember the guy's name, but he kind of had to resign in disgrace. He was trying to get random sex in a public toilet in an airport. And there's apparently this thing with the cubicles, like putting your feet under, like, because there's a gap between the wall and the floor and the cubicles. You put your foot under that and tap, and it's meant to be an enticement that you want to get it on with someone. And he got busted by some undercover. And again, I do not agree with these undercover operations at all. But he kind of got busted. And then he did this press conference where he was trying to cover it up. And he had this thing about having a wide stance. He was basically just trying to say, well, the reason this person in the next stall thought I was propositioning themselves because my foot was actually in their stall. I sit with this wide stance on the toilet. It's just like, yeah, dude, no. Micro, I visited a school once in Los Angeles, and it was the whole fucking deal with security guards and metal detectors and whatnot. And I was pretty tripped out. So Gecko, I've seen that a dog park receptacle with the word Putin, but they didn't do it right, because there was a picture of Putin on the top of the thing where you put your bag of poo in there. And what they should have done, they should have cut the stencil of Putin so the top of his head was on the top, but his bottom jaw was on the thing that you opened up. So it was more like you were opening his mouth to drop the poo in. That's just my take. Biting social satire from me right there. All right. Oh man, my cherry fell off my skewer. I don't know. Got to absorb a bit of flavour. I'm going to eat my cherry now. Love these Luxardo cherries. I decided these were like the best, right? But there are other brands. And I thought I'd try a different brand. And I asked the person in the shop that I trusted, what's another okay one? And she recommended this. They are nowhere near as good as the Luxardo cherries. For a start, the syrup they're in is much more watery. So I'm thinking these even taste a little bit like grapes. They don't have the flavor of the Luxardo cherries. I'm thinking, because this has so much of this really rich cherry juice left in it, I'm thinking I'm going to tip out some of the slightly more watery juice in here and then pour that in. And that might improve the flavor of these ones. I don't know. Gecko, 6:30 a.m. You're going to go to sleep. Yeah, I guess you should. Yeah. It's Micro, you like me doing a sexy cherry eating. Yeah. Justin, no, I would not ask my local MP about a sex worker because I would not trust myself to talk to the local member without getting super angry and punching him in the face. So I just would not have a conversation with him. Micro, I think Gecko is in Las Vegas, like Nevada. He was at one point anyway. I got like cherry juice all over my hand. All right, I think I might just add water to this now. I'll just drink some water for the last half hour. There you go. I didn't even particularly drink a lot tonight. I mean, I did drink. Oop, peeing ASMR. There you go. some water. And I agree, time zones are weird. Time zones only became important when we had transport that was fast enough to cross time zones, basically. I feel like I explained it badly, but it's like if you're going on horseback or even a train, you didn't really have to worry. Like if you decide noon is when the sun is directly overhead, older forms of transport, you were never like traveling a couple of hours and then looking up and going, but it's still noon, because the transport wasn't fast enough. But now, of course, particularly with flight, but not just flight, we have transport that's fast enough that you can travel at close to or even greater than the speed of the Earth's rotation. So you can be traveling for a number of hours and look up and go, wait, it's earlier than when I started. It's like if you do an intercontinental flight from Australia to the US, from a certain perspective, you will have traveled back in time, because the time, depending on the flight, the more direct flight, the more likely this is to happen. When you land in the US, it may be earlier than when you left Australia. So, yeah. So, yeah, time zones were only important once we got transport that was fast enough to move faster than the rotation of the Earth, essentially. Oh, yeah, no, strictly sake of the egging thing. Okay, Craig Kelly's a steaming pile of shit. I don't think it's necessarily a good idea because it can open the door for more violence. Craig Kelly fucking sucks shit. He's just the fucking worst. He's a lying, fetid pile of shit. Don't even really want to talk about him. But yeah, the idea of physically confronting people, again, certain people like Fraser Anning, who was a straight up fucking Nazi. Okay, you can't let Nazis get off scot-free. But Craig Kelly's just a lying, creepy, fucking steaming pile of shit, and it's like, oh, I don't know, if you're gonna fucking get violent, not that egging is particularly violent, but it's just like, he's just a fucking piece of shit. But, Fraser Anning, actual Nazi, promoted Nazi white supremacist talking points and ideology. You can't let Nazis wander around with no repercussions, because we've seen what happens when you think, it's part of political discourse, we should let them do that. Like, no, you cannot let Nazis just roam around and do their Nazi shit. So, I mean, it's complicated. So, Safa, no, Craig Kelly's not a neo-Nazi. Craig Kelly is a lazy, bigoted, lying sack of shit. I mean, he's there's evidence that he's racist as fuck. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, Safa, Craig Kelly getting egged. It's not necessarily a good thing to do. Oh, shit, Strictly Sega. Refusing service to someone who bartender had a glass throwing. No, I'd have zero tolerance for that. That guy, someone throws a glass at staff, they should be out. They should be removed from the premises with extreme prejudice. Zero tolerance for people who are violent or aggressive to people who are serving them. And yeah, as a bartender, you have a responsibility to cut people off when they're drunk. Oh, sorry, Micro. Craig Kelly is just a worthless shithead fringe politician in Australia that we hopefully won't hear of again after the current federal election. He was in Parliament representing one of the major parties, but he's been such a fucking freak. They disowned him, and so he joined a real fringe party that won't win any seats in Parliament. So hopefully, after this election, we just never hear from him again. But he's a conspiracy spouting, like he's very much into COVID conspiracies, just spreading blatant lies about COVID and vaccines, very heavily into freakazoid right-wing conspiracies like Q and whatnot. He's just a horrible, gross, bigoted, lying sack of shit, and got very into the anti-COVID, anti-vaccine conspiracy. He is a nasty, lying piece of shit. He's absolutely contemptible. And hopefully we just never hear from him again after this current federal election, when he will no longer be in Parliament. So Clive Palmer is a criminal. He's been found guilty of criminal behaviour, particularly with regards to the employees of the company, multiple times. He's that ridiculous election spending is, again, it's kind of like Trump. I like to say, like, to Trump supporters, who I have massive contempt for, I love pointing out to them, you know who has more contempt for you than I do? Trump. Trump thinks you're a fucking moron. He's playing you in an incredibly obvious way, and you're falling for it. He actually has a lower opinion of you than I do. It's the same with Clive Palmer. Clive Palmer's just doing a scam to try and trick disenfranchised LNP voters to voting for him, and then he just channels the preferences back to the LNP. So it's literally to trick people who were disenchanted with the LNP into voting for the LNP anyway. Because if you vote for Clive Palmer's horse shit, you are essentially directly voting for the LNP, because no one on Clive Palmer's ticket is getting into Parliament, and they just channel all their votes back to the LNP. It's just, again, the only, and I have nothing but contempt for anyone who'd vote for Clive Palmer's horseshit. The only person with more contempt for someone who'd vote for Clive Palmer's fuckery, the only person with more contempt for them than me is Clive Palmer, because he's just openly fucking with them. It's just ridiculous. Oh, Trump gives no shit about, well, anyone but Trump, essentially. He knows how to lie. He knows what lies people like to hear. Yeah. So what's this Strictly Sega? Look like Tiger from Around the Twist. Begged you for another drink. Closing up, went to doing drink for anyone anymore. He took a pint glass. Yeah, no, that fucker should have been barred. Threw it like a baseball pitcher. Hit your back, didn't break. A wind did you? Landed on the ground and broke. Yeah, no, that fucker should have been aggressively removed by security, and definitely banned from ever re-entering premises. I would have zero tolerance for that sort of fuckery. Well, see, Strictly Sega. See, in the federal election, worried about Queensland? Yeah, because Queensland went real bad. It's like the last election where I said I was quite confident Labor was going to win, because for LNP to do, they would have to do better in Queensland than anyone thought they would do, and do better in New South Wales than anyone thought they would do, and do better in Victoria than anyone thought they would do. Lo and behold, That's exactly what happened. In Queensland, I don't buy into Queensland lost the last election for Labor. It was not just Queensland. Again, Labor, I think, didn't win a single seat federally in Queensland, which is certainly a bad result. But it wasn't just Queensland. The LNP also had to do better in New South Wales than anyone expected, which they did. And they had to do better in Victoria than anyone expected, which they did. So it was basically sweeping the eastern states like that. So, Michael, which one are you talking about with Trump losing? The first or the second? The one he won or the one he lost? And yeah, strictly Sager, I think Queensland might react badly against him with the floods, but who knows? No, Safa, that's not strictly true. I don't, your keyboard has betrayed you, but I know what you meant there. Because New South Wales has had long-running Labor governments in the past, but who knows? I don't know. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? I mean, seriously, Micro, what sane person thought Trump would win that election? Because Trump was obviously an utter fucking fruitcake. He's obviously a quite dangerous person. What sane person thought he would win a presidential election? Like Trump didn't? It's my favorite thing when you see the images of him and Melania at their little celebration party. They didn't want to win because it's too big an impact on their lives. They looked so fucking depressed while they were at their victory dinner. It was so obvious he didn't mean to win that election. He was just using it as a branding thing. Yes, Micro, I was being friendly, saying his keyboard, like you've had your keyboard betray you multiple times tonight. So we'll see. 6 weeks till the. So I think that means also not a date night, so I can do a live stream for the election. But yeah, the one thing I won't do is pretend I'm not bothered if the LNP win the federal election, because I will be depressed as fuck if the LNP hold government. I remember the last federal election, and I didn't think they'd hold government, and they did, and I was super fucking depressed, and I actually cut the live stream short because I'm like, no, this is just depressing. I'm fucking going to bed. And I did see other, lefty commentators say things like, "Oh, people say I'm upset," but I'll make more money with a Liberal government, or I'll have more material. And it's like, no, I won't do that. I won't do that lie that I'm not upset by that result. So yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, various conservative fuckholes laughed at me being upset at the last election result. You know what? They get to do that. Because I was actually quite confident that the LNP would lose, and they didn't. And I was super fucking depressed, and I refused to pretend otherwise. So, you think, does Trump want to get back in, or is he just milking it? Yeah, Micro, maybe he wants to. I don't know. It's Nettie. Look, it never hurts if you and Abigail are over. That'd be a fun one. But yeah, certainly. I don't know. If the LNP hold government this time, I'm just fucking done. I'm like fucking done. It's just like, whatever. Fucking hell. Who the fuck would do this? But anyway, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in 6 weeks? But yes, Nettie, if you and Abigail come over, at least have had a good time. If it looked like it was going bad, I might stop watching. Oh yeah, no, strictly say if the if the LNP win, it's just like, you know what? I'm just done. I don't care about anyone or anything anymore. Micro, that could be a thing. Trump wanting to use presidential powers to try and pardon friends or family. Who knows? And yeah, no, strictly Sega, I will just be so fucking depressed if the LNP win the next election. Just be like, fucking hell. I will be, ugh. Yep. So, yeah. We're just left in the who knows. Who knows? I mean, I hold out hope. I think it's a reasonable hope to hope that the LNP get fucking rinsed at the election, like absolutely pasted. I live in hope. I think that's a reasonable outcome to expect, that they get fucking hammered. But I don't know if it'll happen. So, Micro, Unstated World was why you don't want kids. And horrible genetics, dude. Okay. Safa, polls last time said Labor. So, you know what? Polls don't mean anything. Yeah, no, I fucking care. I will be so fucking depressed if the LNP hold government. So it's one of the things I try to stay honest about, because I do see people, and again, I don't even count right wingers because they're just lying, mendacious sacks of shit. But I do see people on the left going, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered because I'm not bothered because this. I'm like, no, I'm going to be honest. And there are results that will devastate me. I'll suffer. I'm not very rich. I have a decent job. I make a decent living. I don't own a home. I rent. I don't think I classify as rich. I got some money in the bank. Not a lot, but I got some money in the bank. I got a job. Honestly, having grown up as white trash in a country town, I'm so much better off now than I ever would have conceived of as a kid. Like as a kid with my limited horizons, I never would have conceived of how well I could do. But yeah, I do fairly well. So, Marco, your bloodline's all anxiety, depression, bad bones, and hearts. Damn. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think you've nailed a few things there, Strictly Sega. Labor might fix healthcare and the aged care system. Labor might have a proper corruption investigation body. Labor might make some proper moves towards managing climate change. Again, Labor's doing this dumb shit, which annoys the shit out of me in the campaigning, where they're basically campaigning as being Liberal Party light, and I fucking hate it. And so I've just got to kind of hope that when they get into government, they'll enact actual policies, because their core policies, while the Murdoch media painted them to be bad, scary shit, which lost them the last election, they're actually good economic policies. And I think things are likely to be better economically under Labor. No, not directly correlated, but Labor Party is the Democrats. The LNP, the Liberal National Party coalition, is the Republicans. And yeah, well, that's a fun one, Sava. Yeah, there's the number of people who died because of robo-debt, suicides and one. Again, the LNP are fucking evil personified. They're just fucked. Strictly Sega, you doubt Daniel. Oh, okay. Sorry. You're talking about if Labor. No. If It's traditional. If your party loses an election, you resign the leadership position. And yeah, if Plibbers wants to be leader, if Albanese failed to win the election, I think he'd resign the leadership position because that's what you do. B, if he didn't, and anyone stood against him, I think they get in. But yeah, Plibersek is like if she's to. Oh shit, Kev. I have seen. Yeah. Okay. This is a weird, surreal thing. If you haven't seen it, Pauline Hanson has a YouTube channel that's been doing these animations, and it's fucking weird. It is fucking weird. I did actually see some of them. Very strange. But again, talking about people who can't lie straight in bed. I mean, it almost is superfluous to say that anyone in politics is a self-serving liar, but Pauline Hanson is a self-serving fucking liar. It's just deranged. And also, or at least her public pronouncements are completely detached from reality. And it's very hard to know, is she personally detached from reality and thinks this shit is true? Or is she just being a typically mendacious politician and spreading lies that she thinks will appeal to fuckwits who will vote for her? And is either of these better than the other? It's like if she's stupid enough to believe her own shit. Is that what? Oh, you found it, Strictly Saga. I was about to say, if you don't find it, you look up Pauline Hanson's Please Explain on YouTube. It's fucking weird. I did actually watch a couple of them, and I just went, oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously. Is fucking weird. It is very fucking weird stuff. But again, Pauline Hanson is just pulling the same lie that Clive Palmer's pulling, trying to entice reactionary fucking wingnuts who have become disenfranchised from the LNP because they go, yeah, no, the LNP is not fucking insane enough for me. I want someone who is completely fucking insane. Safa, okay, it's not really possible to answer that. Who's worse, Morrison, Hanson, or Palmer? From what perspective? Who can do the most damage? Morrison. Palmer can do virtually no damage, except he damages, public discourse. Hanson just, feeds off racism and stupidity. Morrison's the one who can actually do real damage. Hey, Celtic. So for what percentage, again, okay, far right wingers, it depends what your definition of a far right winger is. But I don't know. I think it's safe to say at least 10%, of the Australian population would welcome a right-wing authoritarian government, so long as that government said the things they wanted to hear. Said, yeah, the things you don't like, they're bad. So you're not bad for not liking them. Those things are the bad things. You're the good person. So, yeah. I think it depends how you define the terms, basically. So I'm just, I've gotten invested in this. I'm using a vegetable peeler to try and peel off this wax on this bottle. You like the angry shirt? It's yeah, you look, see, there. There's even a hand holding the martini. I should have had a martini while I was wearing the shirt. I did not have a martini tonight. I had some old fashions. Very into the old fashions at the moment, I have to say. So is Mrs. Angry, actually, because she can't really have citrus because it gives her heartburn. No, Safa, this is not a vegetable that I'm peeling. It's this weird plasticky wax. It was interesting. I just noticed the stopper is clear. Okay. So I'm always, when I'm trying to do this with bottles that have this wax seal, I'm always paranoid I'm going to cut myself, because I have on multiple occasions cut myself trying to open one of these. Because they're not fucking easy to open, quite honestly. I've never tried to do it with a vegetable peeler before. It's not very effective, to be honest. Marco, citrus gives you heartburn too. Take your Tums. Teach your body who's boss. All right. Put some of this in the bin rather than just. Oh, there's a little knife there. Kind of want to smell this new make spirit single. My God, some of it landed in there. Some of the wax landed in my jigger. Okay. No, Safra, it doesn't have a pull mechanism, which is really annoying. Like, they should put like a ribbon of something in there before they dip it in the wax. Like, what is it? The American whiskey that's famous for it. Although, well, look, maybe it did. Maybe it actually did, and I'm just stupid. Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark does have a thing that's under the wax. It helps you pull off the wax seal. I think this one maybe did. I mean, you can't really see that, but there's a thing there. But I don't know, you can maybe see that, like, that one all the way around. Yeah. Anyway, so it's a clear stopper. Take that bit of wax off. Wax on, wax off. All right. Come on. Come off. Ah, it's one of those stoppers. I hate those stoppers. Smells like moonshine, which is a slightly fruity. Neat. Ah, yes, Micro, you have Maker's Mark. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually barrel aging some Maker's Mark at the moment. Going to leave it in the barrel for another couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, and take it out and see what it's like. All right, get all this wax off. And they call it wax. It's not really wax. It's some weird hybrid of wax and plastic, honestly. I'm just obsessively peeling off these little bits. All right, I got the seal off. Now I feel happy. So, yeah, this smells like the other moonshine I've got. Vaguely fruity. Anyway, so this I'm also going to finish in a barrel for a couple months. So it'll be interesting. It's going to go from being completely clear to should be quite brown after a couple months. Safa, yes, I can imagine if you shave, you suddenly look more 19 than 30. Safa, what type of fruity? Okay, this is the thing. It's like, it's kind of like, it's the smell to me is somewhere between acetone, like nail polish remover, and an overripe pineapple. So It's really dodgy. Micro, you won't do clean shaven because you get ID'd all the time because you look less than 21. Oh, damn. Yeah. Well, I couldn't grow any sort of consistent facial hair till I was about 27. Like, I remember guys I went to school with, like teenagers, 16, 17-year-olds, had to shave every day. But I was like late 20s before I had to shave regularly, which is cool because shaving regularly fucking sucks. It's boring, which is why I have had facial hair of one length or another for most of the last 30 years because shaving just fucking sucks, man. It's boring. So, yeah. But anyway, that's a weird note to finish on, facial hair. But I am going to finish because it's 10 o'clock and I'm going to go to bed and face work tomorrow. Say, Libby, make a barrel video. And I'm going to do it. I'll probably do it. If you come back on Tuesday, I'll probably make a video tasting this barrel-aged cocktail just before the live stream. And I'll probably still have the cocktail before the live stream. So come back on Tuesday for me tasting a barrel-aged cocktail. See what that's like. What am I watching? I don't know. Depends what there is. I think I got like an episode of Picard. There might or might not be an episode of Raised by Wolves. I don't know if they're on a mid-season hiatus at the moment. But there's also some like lighter ones I've been watching. The Taika Waititi pirate one, Our Flag Means Death. Wellington Paranormal on SBS. And also watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. We were slightly late getting that. It's up to 4 or 5 seasons. We're just in season 2 of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Like, initially, Mrs. Angry decided she wasn't that into it and didn't want to watch it. So I started watching it, and she just came in to, well, what are you watching? And she got into it. So now we watch Mrs. Maisel together. It's about a woman doing comedy in the late 1950s, I think. It's kind of fun. Anywho, I'm going to go to bed. You won't watch Bridgerton. I might start watching Bridgerton soon. We enjoyed Bridgerton season 1. Haven't started season 2 yet. But anyway, going to go to bed now. So you'll take care. Maybe back on Tuesday to see me tasting a barrel-aged cocktail. That ought to be fun. But whatever you're doing, take care. I'll see you later.